should everybody be purchasing a house? I mean, it's tough right now to find you could find a rental. I know people gonna drop in the comments saying crazy stuff about, yeah, Metro Atlanta is more than 1,300. That's Metro. So that's the first reason why I think it's difficult to buy a house. There's nobody to call, right? If something breaks in your house, you gotta fix it. You have to pay to fix it. Especially if you buying an HOA, and I found this, man. They gonna tell you how to manage your property. They gonna tell you when to cut your grass, how often to cut your grass, how high your grass can get before you need to cut it again. I promise you, you can definitely be house poor. You can have a nice house, and you can have it, and the house may or may not have nice things in it. So I say all that to say is, if you're gonna purchase a house right now in this environment, it should be an investment property.
There you got it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm doing something a little bit different today. I know you guys are used to seeing my chair in the background, or you're even used to seeing me driving in Mexico. But today I'm actually out here just enjoying the sunshine, man. Today being the second day of spring, I wanted to get out here and enjoy the breeze, man. And I'm out here on this park, and a lot of my neighbors around me are all barbecuing, and I'm actually jealous because I didn't think about it, and I should have had some stuff to throw on the grill, which would have been pretty cool. But today I really want to talk about, like, should everybody be purchasing a house? It's definitely a conversation that there's different sides of the debate. So I just wanted to kind of give my take on what my thoughts are on, purchasing a house in 2025. And, I have mixed feelings about it because, there's a lot of people on the side of saying that, your house is your greatest asset. And there is a lot of truth to that, right? And I know I'm going to get all type of comments on here saying that, man, quit discouraging people from home ownership and stuff like that. But I just really want to hop on here and just talk about my thoughts, right? Again, my opinions. That's what the comments are for, right? If you got your opinion and you have your thoughts, you drop it in the comments. This is my video, and these are my thoughts. But I think for everybody, this may not be the right time to purchase a house. And these are some of the reasons why. Right now is an interesting time in this economy. And I've had this conversation with my wife. I've had it with my daughter. And I was telling my daughter, I was like, man, I don't know if your generation is going to be able to purchase houses. It's something that I say often. And I know it's crazy because, people are out here still buying houses. But if you don't have a situation where you come into some type of wealth, I don't know how young folks can buy houses now. Straight out of college. You graduate college, you get a job, an entry-level job at a job. Like, you can't afford a house right now. I know right here in Atlanta, man, you're not buying a house entry-level when you get out, when you get out of college. It just ain't happening. You're definitely gonna have to rent for a while and then try to figure out how you could save up to get a house. Because if you kind of look at the market right now, interest rates are still really high, and then you have to have a reasonable down payment and a credit profile to get a house, right? So that takes time, one, to build up a decent credit profile, and two, it takes time to get a down payment that is suitable for purchasing a house. An FHA loan, you have to have 3.5% down to purchase a house. If you think about that, man, on a 300, I'm gonna just say conservatively, a $300,000 house, you got to have over 10 grand to buy a house. And who has 10 grand just sitting somewhere? And that's just the down payment. That doesn't include the closing costs and stuff like that. Now, again, there are programs out here that help you with some of the closing costs and things like that. Again, that's a conversation for the comments. But I'm just saying, on the surface, right? It is very difficult to own a house. It is very difficult to come up with the money. The average person is not going to be able to come up with $10,000, $15,000 to purchase a house. That's one point. The second point is, a lot of times right now, because the interest rates are so high, and people are putting so little of an amount down, your mortgage payments a lot of times is more than rent. When I was younger, and I was coming up in the world, and I was looking at buying a house versus renting, it was the other way around. If you bought a house, pretty much your payment was going to be lower than the rent, right? That was one of the motivating factors for buying a house when you're younger, is because it was going to be less than the rental payments. That's what people would say to you. Hey man, why are you throwing all this money away in rent? You can actually own a house for less money. That ain't the case a lot of times. I mean, it's tough right now to find you could find a rental in Atlanta or some of these suburbs in Atlanta for $1,300 a month. Find me a mortgage payment that's less than $1,300 a month. That's tough. And $1,300, you could get something pretty decent. Again, I know people gonna drop in the comments saying crazy stuff about, yeah, Metro Atlanta is more than $1,300. That's Metro Atlanta. I'm talking about the suburbs. I'm talking about these places around Atlanta that are very nice places around Atlanta. Decatur, Douglasville, and a lot of these other smaller cities that are Metro Atlanta. You can find places that are less than $1,300 a month for nice 2-bedroom townhouses in nice areas where the transit system is very good. So, but the bottom line is, it'll be very difficult for a person to come up with the down payment for a property to get the payment low enough to where it's lower than rent. So that's the first reason why I think it's difficult to buy a house. The next reason is maintenance, repairs, and property taxes. Now this right here is crazy. Now this is something that affects all property owners. These maintenance fees to keep up with these properties, you don't get it, man, until when you own your own house. There's nobody to call, right? If something breaks in your house, you got to fix it. You have to pay to fix it. And the cost to fix things is a lot more than you think, right? If your central air conditioning goes out, man, you could be out $5 to $10 grand. Right? So if you're renting from somebody and the central AC go out, the landlord got to take care of that. If you bought a house and your central AC go out, either you're going to be hot or cold, depending on the season it is, or you got to come up with $5 to $10 grand to fix it if it totally went out. If your water heater goes out, that's a few grand. All these expenses is a lot of people aren't prepared for the true cost of home ownership, right? It's sexy to say that you own a house. I get it. Everybody wants to say they have their own, but do you have the finances to be able to maintain your own house? The next thing is homeowners insurance and property taxes. So in addition to the mortgage payment and the PMI you're probably going to have if you only put down 3%, right? You're going to have property taxes, and then you're also going to have your your maintenance and repairs and your insurance. So think about it. Insurance, folks, if they start building up your property and the assessments for your property goes up, the property taxes go up. I done seen it happen. I done seen neighborhoods, people go in and the neighborhood's a certain way. They buy a house is one thing and their property taxes is something else. They start developing around your neighborhood, building up. Now all of a sudden your property taxes double. You have no control over that. Zero. You pay what they tell you pay. Now, yeah, there's appeals processes and stuff, but if they determine that the value of your property has gone up because basically the work that they've been doing in the other houses and the values in the neighborhood, you're gonna pay that property taxes. It is what it is. And if you don't pay it, guess what? They're gonna put a tax lien on it, and some guy's gonna go to tax lien court and buy your house. It's gonna be a wrap, and there's no way to contest it. So again, I'm not saying this stuff to scare people, but I just want to make sure people to understand the true reality of home ownership. When you're renting, those are things that you don't have to worry about. You don't have to worry about property taxes going up. You don't have to worry about insurance going up. You don't have to worry about maintenance costs and unforeseen repairs. When you own the property, those are things that you have to do. And I'll tell you another little cost, a little bonus little cost that that most people aren't aware of, especially if you buying an HOA, and I found this, man, they gonna tell you how to manage your property. They gonna tell you when to cut your grass, how often to cut your grass, how high your grass can get before you need to cut it again, and if not, they're gonna fine you. And I know there might be some people saying that, hey, just cut your grass. Guess what? I do cut my grass, but what if there's people that want to cut their grass every 3 or 4 days? I'm not that guy. I might want to cut my grass once a week. They might determine that your grass needs to be cut more quickly than that. And if the folks on the HOA deem that that's how it is, that's what you have to do. There's no way to contest it. One of the most powerful entities out there are the HOA. And I'm gonna make a video about how one of the HOA almost destroyed me by just making a decision and just changing their mind on something, which was actually crazy. But if you like what you're hearing so far, please make sure to like and subscribe and support the channel, and drop something in the comments, man. Things like that help out the channel and continues to help to let the channel grow. So that's the other thing. The next thing, the third thing that I want to talk about is being house poor. Man, I got a personal story for this one. I ain't gonna put it out there right now, but I promise you can definitely be house poor. You can have a nice house, and you can have and the house may or may not have nice things in it. I was in a situation like that before, back in the days. I had a really nice house, but I was house poor. Didn't even have a lot of great furniture, just had a really nice house. You don't want to be house poor. If it doesn't feel good, it will feel good when you first get that house, but then after a while, I promise you, it won't feel good anymore. You don't want to be house poor. You want to have a nice place to live, but you don't want that house to be sucking up all your finances, because what that will do is it will put you in a situation where you can't do things that are going to really move your life forward, right? Again, we talk about the asset, the house being one of the greatest assets, and yes, that is a true thing. But if you're house poor, that is the only investment that you're going to have. You won't be able to have any additional money to be able to invest in other things that can actually help increase your net worth. You won't have extra money to go out and buy other properties. You won't have extra money to go out and buy stocks, put money in your 401k if you're working. You won't be able to do all those things because you're house poor. So do not risk being house poor just to keep up with the Joneses. The next piece is the housing market is it's uncertain, right? Especially now. Right now is a situation where the cost of housing is going to continue to go up because, we're living in a time where the economy is very uncertain. Now, again, like I've always told you guys, I'm not an overly political person, so I don't get on here and talk politics. You have to know when certain groups or people are in power, how to take advantage of that time, right? When the Democrats are in power, you take advantage of it in a certain way. When the Republicans are in power, you take advantage of that a different way. You just have to be able to roll with the punches. Don't let politics determine what you can do and what you can't do. What you have to do is you have to actually do the research to understand when the wind is blowing one way, which direction you should be moving in. Don't worry about who's in power. That shouldn't impact your what you do. It should impact how you make your decisions and how you move, but you should always be moving forward. So I just got that ran out of the way, so I just wanted to go ahead and say that. So again, but right now this is a very uncertain market. Some of the tariffs that have been put in place are going to make the price of lumber more, right? And so what that's going to do, that is going to make the price of building be a little bit more. The price of labor is going to be a little bit more, right? So we have some, you're going to have less workers that are doing some of this work because some of the actions of the current administration. Again, you have to know how to move in these environments. This doesn't mean that you can't make a move, but this is for me to just make sure that you guys understand that you have to understand how to move in certain environments. So the uncertainty that is going on right now in the market, it may or may not be a good time based on your level of experience with, purchasing properties. This may not be the time for you to hop out there and get a property. The next thing is the interest rate environment right now. Now this is something that's just plain and simple. If you are not an investor, you should not be buying a house with a high interest rate. I'll say that again. If you are not an investor, you should not buy a house with a high interest rate. Now again, are we going to get back to the point where we had the 2% interest rates? We may or may not, man. Those days may not come. We were like, that was COVID, and a lot of crazy things were going on. Houses weren't moving. The government, the feds were trying to stimulate the economy. They were doing everything they can to try to get people to start buying houses again, and so the rates were incredibly low. That a lot of people who bought houses during that time is going to have a lot of wealth. I was actually a lucky one. I bought a house. I bought a $400,000 plus house during that time. House has already gone up well over $100,000 in a few years. Got a less than 3% interest rate. If you weren't able to make a move during that time, I promise you missed out on the window that could have really helped you exponentially get your wealth. And that would have been a great situation. Like if you wanted to buy a house for you to live in, that would have been a perfect situation, because you would have got it at such a low interest rate that if some of those other things happens, like insurance rates go up or taxes go up, then it wouldn't be that big of a deal, because you got such a great rate on the interest that those things wouldn't hurt you as much. But right now, the market is not favorable for people who want to be owner occupied in their houses, and buying a house, if you're not an investor right now, may not be the right time for you. All right, what else? So this is the last thing, and this is something that this is always going to be controversial. So again, this is my take on it. Again, if you have something different to say about it, the comments is where you go with it. When you put a lot of money in a house, you are in a house, especially for you to live in, right? This is a house that is not making you any money right now. It is not. It is building long-term wealth for you. I agree with that. We don't have to debate. But right now, it's not putting money in your pocket. It's taking money outside of your pocket, right? So when you do that, it stops you from investing in things that can put money in your pocket. So if you're house poor, you can't go out and invest in other things. I talked a little bit earlier about 401k, but it's not just things like that. It's just other opportunities that may come up that you just don't have the money for, because all your money is tied up in your house. So I say all that to say is, if you're going to purchase a house right now in this environment, it should be an investment property. Investment properties right now, because the rates are still, pretty high, you could find a little bit more opportunity to negotiate with folks to get better rates, to get better terms. Because of that, you could get sellers that will be willing to give more concessions, whether that's a buy down of an interest rate or lowering the cost. So those are the things you should be focused on right now in this environment. Again, if you have different opinions, go ahead and drop all your comments in the notes below. And again, thank you for so much for watching this video. And again, if your opinion is a little bit different, I love that. Go ahead and drop the comments down in the bottom, and we could talk about it in the comments. But again, whatever you do, keep moving and keep running those plays. Peace.